In United States we say, how are you? In China we say, ni hao ma. In Brazil we say, tudo bem. In South Africa we say, how's it? In France we say, ça va. In Japan we say, o genki desu ka? In Nigeria we say, how far? In Australia we say, how you going? In India we say, apka. Say hi. In Germany we say, wie geht's? In Mexico we say, ¿cómo estás? In Egypt we say, Isaiah. In Argentina we say, ¿cómo estás? In Canada we say, how's it going? In Italy we say, come stay. In Kenya we say, habari yako. In South Korea we say, Jalgines yo yo. In Spain we say, ¿qué tal? In Morocco we say, lavas. In Thailand we say, sabay di mai. In New Zealand we say, how's it going? In Turkey we say, nasılsın? In Ghana we say, etesen. In Indonesia we say, apa kabar? In United Kingdom we say, you alright? In Colombia we say, ¿cómo vas? In Saudi Arabia we say, kaifa haluk? In Tanzania we say, habari. In Switzerland we say, amigos. In Fiji we say, bulaga kachava. In Uganda we say, oliotia. In Senegal we say, nanga def. In Vietnam we say, banque home. In Philippines we say, kamustaga. In Portugal we say, ¿cómo estás? In Greece we say, in Jamaica we say, wagwan. In Costa Rica we say, ¿cómo estás? In Peru we say, ¿cómo estás? In Chile we say, ¿cómo va? In Samoa we say, oh my oh. In Papua New Guinea we say, you alright? Rwanda we say, amakuru. In Nepal we say, timilai kastocha.
Good afternoon to you, wherever you're joining from. And at this point, I'll turn on my camera and also encourage you, if you think you're able to do so, could we please turn on our cameras and so we can see our faces. It would be nice to see your faces on the camera. So we have participants who registered for this workshop today from different parts of the world. And it would be nice to have you introduce yourselves if you're joining this workshop. I'm going to ask each of us to introduce ourselves in 30 seconds. So let's know who is attending, so we're no longer strangers. You say your name, your organization, whether you're a student, your nationality, and then if you're an animal, which of the animals will you be? And don't overthink the animal thing. It's just, there's no wrong answer. We just want to get to know you. So I'll go first. My name is Daje Odok. Daje Odok. Yes, and I'm the founder of TouchScience Africa. I'm also a journalist. And like you, I've spent a lot of years reporting problems. And if I were an animal, I would be a bird, because birds are curious. They observe the world from different perspectives. They travel across boundaries. They notice things that we sometimes miss. So, and then I think that's what good journalism is all about. So who is going next? Your name, your affiliation, organization, and if you were an animal. Let's go. Who is bailing the cat?
All right, Matt. All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is David Arome. I'm a journalist. I write for the Development Reports, an online media platform, from Nigeria, precisely. So if I'm an animal, so I'll be an eagle. The reason is because an eagle have this deep sight to see things from afar, deep. And I thank God that this training is coming at this time. So to deepen our understanding, seeing beyond the problem and looking at the solution. There are so many things that are happening in our community, just very little initiative that individuals and group of people are really carrying out in the community. And it's a very good time for journalists to spotlight all of this. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Arome. All right, next person. Can we do this very fast so we don't waste a lot of time? We're all going to introduce ourselves, whether you're here now or join later. We'll get to know who is on the call.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
Victoria Idowu from Nigeria. I worked at International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA. I'm a journalist or science reporter, and also I worked as an agricultural communicator. So if I'll be a bird, if I'll be an animal, I'll be a parrot, because communication and storytelling are very important thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Yeah, you'll be a parrot. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Catherine Odon. I'm a Nigerian and I work for Radio IITA. If I were to be an animal, I would be a cat because I love the calm and gentle nature of a cat. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is June Lance. I'm from Kenya. I'm a journalist. I mostly write on health issues, and I'm a freelance for now. I write for Talk Africa, and I do reporting for Majestic Digital TV, which is an online platform. And if I would be a bird, an animal, I'd be a dove because I love peace and also love people. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Mariam Afolabi. I work with Sobi FM from Nigeria. I'm a news editor and an academic researcher. If I would be my personality, I would say it's matched that of a cat because of the gentleness and curiosity. But as a journalist, I would rather be an eagle that can oversee everything.
All right. Thank you, Miriam. Good to have you.
Yeah, my name is Solomon Tembang. I'm a journalist in Cameroon. The current African champions of the Women African Nations Cup. We won.
Congratulations, Tembang.
Yes, thank you. Our trophy got home yesterday.
Congrats.
I work with the Guardian Post Daily Newspaper. I'm based in Yaoundé. If I were to be an animal, I would be a lion. As a lion is a king of the jungle, and just like my name Solomon, like the King Solomon of the Bible. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Masi Osongo. I'm a journalist working in Kenya under the Kenya News Agency. If I were to be an animal, I'd prefer to be a cat with 9 lives. So the way I look at it is to be able to handle all the different challenges that life will throw at me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercy.
Hi, this is Stanley Nyaringita. I am a journalist from Kenya, and I work on State Media, that is TV 47 and Radio 47. I am a climate journalist.
I'll say that I'm Victor Katembo Buto. I am a student at Goma University. I'm also a journalist freelance with the Mongabe Afrique and ici Congo Point or online media. I am in Goma.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
My name is Oscar Nyongesa. My name is also from a class journalist, and I'm glad to be here. If I was an animal, I would prefer to be maybe a crocodile, because just waiting for the wild beast migration so that we can feast. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you.
Okay, I go next.
Yes.
I'm Turea Mwadzaya. I'm a journalist, and I'm also the founder of Kilele Radio. If I were to be an animal, I'll be a tortoise, because I like to be slow but sure and be focused. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so it's good to have you, and we'll try to make this as quick as possible. This is journalism doesn't have to end with problems. Like you all got the email, and of course, you have an idea of what we're here to do today. It's going to be a 2 hours program, workshop, and we'll try as much as we can to keep it at that. Hopefully, we're looking at some introduction. How can journalism move beyond telling us what is wrong to rigorously examine what is being done about it? We've met each other, and I want us to actually ask or talk before, ask ourselves a few questions. You've been doing journalism. Some persons are still in school. We have a few persons who registered who probably have not joined the call. But when you hear the words solutions journalism, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? I mean, what do you think solutions journalism is all about? What's the first thing before we go further? I just want to know what you think solutions journalism is all about. I'll take a few persons, 1 or 2 persons. When you hear solutions journalism, what's the next thing that comes to mind?
Okay, this is Solomon.
Yeah, Solomon.
You get me?
Yes.
Yes. Normally, in journalism, we always there has always been the trend where journalists look mostly at issues of the problems facing countries. For example, in journalism, they always say that bad news is good news. Or also look at what is happening. What is the problem? Is there corruption? Is there famine? Is there drought in some communities? But solution journalism moves beyond that and looks at what communities or what solutions can be provided towards a problem. For example, if there is a drought in the community, is a community coming together to have maybe a community water project? And so solution journalists will go and look at what solutions are being done to address issues within the community, address problems in the community. If there is a frequent blackouts in the country, is the government looking at how that can be addressed? So I think that's basically about what solution journalism in a nutshell is all about. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, can we have someone else?
All right. Okay. For me, just to add to what colleague just said now, I would say solution journalism, yes, goes beyond exposing the problem to investigate how people, communities, institutions, or government are responding to a problem. And also, whether those responses are actually working and what lesson one can learn from it. So that is my understanding of solution journalism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like that. Thank you. Can we have one more person? Just one more person. It's not a test. It's not a quiz. What do you think about, what do you think solutions journalism is?
This is Eno Sandiba.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. Yes, my take is that as a journalist, you are not supposed only to expose maybe the problem or the issue, but also you are supposed to give the solution to that problem, maybe on how it can be tackled so that they can get maybe the solution to whatever is happening. So on my side, I think you expose the problem, and also you give the possible solution that they can use to tackle that problem.
Okay, thank you very much for your responses. I mean, sometimes we define things from the words. I mean, we say we give definitions to some things according to what we've been raised or what we've been trained to think it's all about. But I would like to also add that okay, when you it's your contributions are really valid, but when we talk about solutions journalism, I want you to keep those answers you have in mind, because by the end of this training, I want you to come back to those definitions and then see whether your understanding has changed. So we'll go to the next slide. What social problem do you wish, after several years of covering your beats, what are the problems you wish you covered differently? When you look at, for some of you who have been in journalism for a long time, you're covering a particular beat, or you've covered several beats. Which social problem do you think you could have covered differently? What I mean is, I want each of you to think about your beats, your community, your country. Which one social problem that you wish journalism had covered differently from what's been done right now? This is going to be interactive.
Okay,
Very
okay,
interactive. So I
okay,
would
okay,
like you
okay.
to.
Can I come in?
Yes.
Solomon, this is Solomon. Okay, in my country, Cameroon, there's currently an armed conflict that's raging on in the two English-speaking regions of the country. You know, Cameroon is a bilingual country. Cameroon is a bilingual country. Our two official languages are English and French. There's an armed conflict that has been raging in the northwest and southwest regions, which are English-speaking regions, for close to 10 years, since 2017. That's over 10 years. I have covered that crisis for since it started, and I think if I want to continue reporting about the crisis, I think I would have wished to have covered it differently, because we journalists, maybe in Cameroon, or media organs in Cameroon, have always reported the issue about the problem, about the crisis that is raging on, but instead of trying to see how we can provide solutions to the crisis. I think I would have covered it better. I would have wished to cover it differently, in such a way that can bring peace rather than inflaming the conflict. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's conflict. Anyone else? Can we talk about a different beat? Tell us how you could have covered, say, climate change, unemployment, healthcare.
Yes, you mentioned the climate change, and it reminded me of I think last year, but one, when Kenya was the host of the first ever Africa Climate Summit, SES, and so many of us as climate journalists, at the end of it, we focused on the what how the richer countries will provide money to the global south to ensure that they actually meet their pledges. And we didn't really focus on the climate action of it and the climate solutions that, as Africans, as Kenyans, we have done, because there are communities that do, and we have a very interesting story. But we at that time we didn't really take that time to actually showcase to the world that, as Africa, these are the interesting climate solution stories that we have, yet we went for this is what the richer countries have not yet done, and these are the challenges that as Africa we have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. So I would like you, for the persons who have spoken, you'll notice that we've highlighted a lot of or identified a lot of problems, and journalists are specialists in identifying problems because, of course, when you go to cover a beat, the first thing you want to know about is the problem, what is happening. You investigate the problem. But I would like to ask, what exactly have you been taught to do with those problems when you find, I'm not asking you to answer, but if you think back, you get to find the problems, you get to ask questions. So what do you do with all of those answers? What do you do with the problems when you find them? So think back for many of us who have been taught mass communication or journalism. We've been taught about the 5 W's and H, the what, the where, the when, and the how, and all of that. Who, what, where, why. We learned news values. We learned to identify the news. We learned to investigate the news. We learned to find the persons who are responsible. And we also were taught how to tell the audience what happened, expose the problem. A lot of us gets high on exposing, what's happening, exposing corruption, exposing things happening in the community. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But journalism, of course, must tell what is happening. It must expose. But look at the questions we often end up asking. You end up asking what is broken, what went wrong, who is responsible, how bad is the problem. But what is missing? What is missing? The question that is missing is what's being done about what is happening. That's the question a lot of journalists always miss. We ask other questions, but we don't ask what is missing. What's being done about it? And this matters because of the kind of news environment or audience are living in. So think about the last time you opened social media, you turned on your radio, you turned on your television, you go to news websites, you see scandals, you see climate disasters, political crises, unemployment. Sometimes you consume the news and you come away with even feeling worse, more exhausted than you ever were before you got on the news. Lots of bad news, lots of it. And this also brings me to the one of my favorite research findings in 2025 Reuters Institute Digital News Report. And it found that 4 in 10 people globally, that's 40%, said they sometimes or often avoid bad news. And that's about the biggest level of recorded jointly with 2024. People go to get news to hear about what is happening, and you turn on the news, it's bad news, it's news of war, news of corruption, news of flooding. Here in Nigeria, we've seen lots of that, flooding everywhere. And then where I stay right now, I just got to find out that it doesn't happen in other states. It's very cold. We hardly see the sun. It's really, really cold. And while you're covering your duvet at night, you're protecting yourself, covering up your children and, getting everybody warmed up. Elsewhere, people are crying of farmers are lamenting of lack of rain and then all of that. So lots of bad news everywhere. So we have journalism problem and an audience problem. But I'm not suggesting that journalists should stop reporting bad news. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is People need to know when the government fail. They also need to know when something is being done about a particular problem that has been reported. They need to know when corruption happens. They need to know when whoever is responsible for the corruption was brought to book. Balanced story. Gone are the days where they say, they taught us that if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead. I mean, that's the quotes. The question is, does the story have to end there? Does the story always have to end with a problem? That's the conversation we'll be having today. The story does not have to end with a problem. So that takes me to the next one, which is, what is solutions journalism? Solutions journalism is rigorous and compelling reporting about responses to social problems. So notice that I didn't say positive news. I didn't say good news. I didn't say stories about success of an organization. We're talking about reporting. We're talking about investigation, thorough investigation. We're talking about what is being done. Does it work? You identify a problem, and then the next question should be the response. What's the response to the problem? How are people responding? Who is responding to that problem? What can we learn from this problem? What are the limitations? And that brings us to something very important, which is that journalism, solutions journalism is not. So solutions journalism is not PR. It's not advertising. It's not advocacy. It's not a feel-good story. It's not good news simply because for the sake of good news. It's not promoting an organization or government. No, that's not solutions journalism. The response in solutions journalism, the response is the subject of investigation, not something we're trying to sell. We're not trying to promote a hero. We're not trying to paint a hero in solutions journalism. We're not trying to promote what an organization is doing. For instance, an organization may tell us that it programmed its what's it called? Its innovation has, the organization has empowered 10,000 farmers with their innovation or their what's the word I'm looking for? They've empowered 10,000 farmers with their technology. That's an impact story. That's an impact claim. Now, a solutions journalist doesn't simply repeat that claim. So I was saying that solutions journalism is not advocacy, is not any of those things you can see on the slide. We investigate the response. We ask what happened, what evidence exists, what worked, what didn't work, and what actually can be learned from that insights from the solutions. So it is not any of those. It's not promoting. It's not a feel-good news. It's not repeating the claim of an organization that says they've provided, their program has provided a certain number of help or interventions for farmers. It's not. That's not solutions journalism. Now, let's look at this on the slide. SoJo, that's solutions journalism versus PR and impact stories. This distinction is very, very important, particularly for journalists who are working with development organizations, NGOs, or government institutions, or research organizations. Now, for when you put this side by side, PR is organization-led, while an impact story is often an institution-led story. And then solutions is evidence. Solutions journalism is based on evidence. It's tangible. Because PR highlights the success, solutions examines both success and the failure. Let me repeat that again. PR talks about success. Of course, you're promoting the innovation. or intervention. But solutions journalism examines what failed and what worked. PR may avoid weaknesses. Solutions reports weaknesses. Solutions reports limitations. So if I may ask, which of these three, PR, impact story, solutions journalism, which of these three would you most likely as a journalist? Which of these three would you as a journalist trust more? PR, impact, or solutions journalism? And I'm not asking this because you're here to learn solutions journalism. I'm just asking, as a journalist, which of this would you trust more, and why? I just want one response.
Okay, for me, I'll say solution journalism, because solution journalism creates that balance between what works and what does not work, and what lesson one can learn from them, from those initiative or the solution that is being preferred in the community or institution. So solution journalism for me is, yes, I'll go for solution journalism.
Thank you very much. So let's move to the reason we're here. The 4 pillars of solutions journalism. This is the heart of solutions journalism. These are the 4 pillars we're going to be working with today: response, evidence, insights, and limitations. And by the end of this training, I want you to be able to look at the story and ask yourself whether these 4 elements are present. This is the fire that refines your solutions story. You cannot say you have done your story is a solution story if it's not gone through this framework. So this is the framework that guides solutions journalism. This is the fire that refines it. The first one is response. We start with the problem. Of course, you identify a problem. So you identify a problem. What is the problem? What is happening? But we don't stay where the problem is. We don't just report the problem. What we've been taught over the years as a journalist is you get to go to find out what is happening in the particular area, a particular community, and then you go and develop a story from that. But in solutions journalism, you don't remain where the problem is. You don't stay where the problem is. You ask other questions. Who is responding to these problems? Who is doing something about this problem? What exactly are they doing? How does this response or this solution work? And what problem is actually is this solution trying to address? So you move beyond the problem to response. These are the questions you ask as a journalist, as a solutions journalist. You notice the photo of the farmers. Don't just tell me that the farmers are facing climate stress. What are they doing about it? Some of these farmers, sometimes local communities, develop their own strategy. They come up with their own responses to their problem. If you look at the picture, it's obviously a solution, a response to whatever problem that is happening in their fields or in their farmlands. So they are responding. These farmers are responding to the problem. And then what are they doing? Under the response, you ask, what are they doing? What exactly are they doing? How does this response work? How is it going for them? What problem are they trying to respond to? The second one is the evidence. This is where we move from someone says it works to how do we know? How do we confirm that this works? How do you confirm? Of course, by data, by research, interviews, of course, speaking with people. And then I don't mean when I say interviews or data, that's how many persons have used this response or this response. And it's not just 1, 2, 3, or 4 persons. It has to be a tangible, greater number of people who must have used the response. And I'm going to be sharing a story during the breakout session where, of course, you read 3 solutions stories and you'll be able to find out which is a truly solutions story and a strong and a weak solution story. So this evidence moves from what works to how do we know it actually worked. You see why organizations would not, some organizations, especially funded organizations or companies, will not want you to do this because all they want is we've developed something and then people are using it. They won't want you to know, to find out or research or ask how it's going, how those people who are using it, how is it going for them? So how do you get the evidence? You observe independent experts, you investigate, and a whole lot of others. So evidence doesn't have to prove perfection. It has to help us to understand effectiveness or the lack of it. So the evidence you gather, whatever you gather from the field, is not supposed to be perfect. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to help you understand whether the response is working or whether or not it's working. And then, of course, why it worked for some people. Because sometimes response don't work for everybody for different reasons. So you also have to know why it worked. It worked for some people, the same response, but it's not working for another person. Then the next one is the insights. That's the third pillar. This is where we move beyond simply saying that this response worked. What can others learn from this response? That's what we ask here. What can they learn? What has this response taught them? Maybe there's a principle, maybe there's a process, maybe there's a particular condition that made it work. Maybe there's a lesson that another community could adapt. So insight does not just mean that the solution must be copied exactly somewhere else. Insight means the story helps other people understand whether what can be learned, help them understand how a particular community was able to implement the response that they got, and then they adapt it. It's not a copy and paste. And think of it this way. Suppose there are 2 communities. Community A has droughts and community B has droughts. And then community A come up with develop a rainwater harvesting system as their solution. So as a solutions journalist, your question is not, can community B copy this exactly the way community A did that? Your question should be, what made this work for community A? Maybe you discover strong community ownership, low-cost materials, government support from the government, good maintenance, and good attitude. Because for instance, I've worked with farmers, I still work with farmers, and there are some farmers who would refuse and reject and not want you to come near them with any technology. They will tell you they've been doing this from the time of their old forefathers. So you can't come and tell them something different. So those are the insights. Now, can community B learn from those? Absolutely, yes. But must community B build the exact same system? The answer is no. And the reason is they might have different climates, different rainfall, different soil, different culture, different attitude, different economics. So what they have to do is adapt and not copy and paste. So the lesson has to be transferable. That's insight. It must be transferable for your solution story, for a story to be termed a solution story. The insight has to be transferable. It has to people have to learn from it. People can adapt to the lessons that they got from from that response or from that solution. So that is that for insight. So it does not mean the solution must be copied exactly. It just has to be transferable. It has to be something that other people can learn from. Now we go to the last one, which is limitations. So now, I think journalists will appreciate most this limitation, because no response is perfect at all. That's what we're taught in solutions journalism, and that's what you should know. No response, no solutions is perfect. What doesn't work? Who was left out of the solutions? What does it cost? What conditions are required? Would this fail somewhere else? These are the questions you ask under limitations. Sorry. So these are the questions you ask under limitations. So limitations doesn't weaken a solution story. It makes the story more credible. So when you're writing your solutions story, you have to have this pillar as part of it, the limitations. You have to be able to tell your story transparently. This intervention was made and so number of persons received it, but these are the limitations. These are people who couldn't access this, and this is because of the funding or the cost of the intervention, and a lot of other reasons why an intervention did not work, why it worked for a community or it worked for somebody and it didn't work for another person. So you have to be transparent as a solutions journalist. This has to be part of this framework, has to be included. You must report the limitations. There has to be. Solutions journalism is not perfect. Just remember that it is not a perfect story. The story does not have to be all rosy. So let's put all of this together. Let's put everything together with one example. Now, I'll start with the problem. The problem, as a solutions journalist, the first thing you do is the problem. What is the problem? Extreme heat is damaging yam seedlings. What are the response? The farmers use grass or mulch to protect the soil. Now, what's the evidence? The evidence is the farmers reports better survival, while researchers explain why their approach could work. Now, what are the insights? Protecting soil can help crops cope with heat and moisture stress. Then the limitations. Well, this may require the right materials, timing, and adaptation to local conditions. Or the materials are expensive. So notice what happened. We didn't pretend the climate problem has been solved. We didn't say the problem has been solved. We investigated one response to the problem. I hope you're following. So we're not saying that solutions journalism, in solutions journalism, you're providing solutions to the farmers. That's not what we're saying. It's not in your place to provide solutions. Of course, as a journalist, you don't put yourself in the news. You don't profile. You don't have an opinion. Yours is to report, right? But you have to be very transparent in your reporting. And then if you're writing a solution stories, you're doing solution stories or a solution story, all of these framework, all of these have to be included. Not if it's short of one, then your solution story is not a solution story. It is not. So now we go to the going to talk about solutions journalism. Actually, do solutions journalism? You're going to look at some stories that I'll be sharing shortly. I'll post some links in the chat box. So we're going to have 3 groups, 3 breakout rooms. Each group has an assigned story. And what you do is you click on the link, you read the story, And then you decide, is this a solution story or not? You identify the 4 pillars, which pillar is strongest, which is missing or weak. And then finally, what you do is you report further. You have 15 minutes, and then you choose the spokesperson who will report for your group, the findings you come up with when we return from the breakout rooms. But before we do that, if you have any questions, I think we'll take a few questions before we go into the breakout session. But please make sure you access the documents before you enter the rooms. I'm going to share the documents briefly now, shortly in the chat box. So if you have any questions, please go ahead. Okay, so we have 15 minutes. We'll go into the breakout rooms now. If you have any issues, just click on the help button. You'll have me in your group. 15 minutes. All right, a quick one. If you're having issues in your group, please let me know. I understand that some persons are not talking in a group. I don't know what's the problem. Maybe it's a network from an individual. Please let me know if you have issues in your group. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Can you hear me? All right. Welcome back, everyone. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Okay. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can see your slide now.
Is it clear?
Yeah, it is clear.
Okay. All right. So what did you notice in
I
your...
can't see the slide. Everything is just dark here.
Is the same for everyone?
I can see welcome back.
Okay.
I can see the slide.
I can see welcome back to now.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
it's okay. I'm also saying that.
Okay. All right. So are we all there?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the stories, group 1, group 2, group 3. What did you notice from the stories that you saw or you read during the breakout session?
Are we going by group 1, 2, 3, or in any order?
Any group that is
Okay.
ready.
Okay. For I'm in group 1. I don't know if it's individual or we should
No.
talk
A group leader.
generally.
No.
Oh,
A group
I don't know
representative. Yes.
I don't know if we have a
Ngoja
group
usikate.
leader.
Anyone can represent the
Asa.
group.
Okay. In group 1, from what we were able to find out, the problem was even written in the topic or the headline of the story, which is that heat wave is scorching their harvest in that particular community and also their yam seedlings. And reading further, you would realize that it has not always been like that. years before, they had trees that were protecting their farms and farmland, but the trees have been felled and used for charcoal. Has been felled and used for charcoal. So the solution, which is what their response,
All right. Okay, we are back.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Their response to it, which is one of the pillars, is that they resorted to mulching by using grasses to cover their ridges, and they used sand to tuck it in. So that was their response to it, and they realized that it's reducing the heat to their yam, and it's retaining moisture to their soil. So I think that was where we got to before we were able to so it was able to address the heat issue, but the limitation is the part that we didn't really get much before we were able to log out.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. That's
Okay.
group 1, right?
Group 3. Yes. Group 3, we have the same link.
Yes, we just finished group 1.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I go?
Yes.
Yes, in group 3, we had the same story. The same story about the heat waves affecting the yam planted by the community, Zing local government area of Taraba State in northern Nigeria. And just as the previous speaker of group 1 said, the response was that they decided to use a practice which involved them covering their yam ridges with dried grasses and pinning them down with sand to prevent wind from blowing the grass away, and that helped in retaining the moisture of the community of their farms, and help in averting the extreme heat that was destroying the yam. And this was caused by the fact that in the community previously had trees, and the trees had been felled, and the community was previously very cold, but now it's very hot. And the evidence was that practice was, one of the sources in the story said that it is scientifically proven that practice is helping their yams. And the limitation was that I realized was that sometimes wind can blow away the because there are no longer trees within the community to maybe reduce the speed of wind within the community. Wind can easily blow away the grass, and this heat still affects the yams. I think that was the limitation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, the last group. Anyone from the last group?
Okay, so from the last group, we were given a story about the Miami River cleans, and we were able to identify the responses. And the response is the several problems, like the problem of the microplastic from the country of Miami. And we gathered evidence to be the 80 pounds of waste putting in the river weekly. And we were unable to finish the insights before we were sent out of the group.
Okay. All right. That's those are valid contributions. Now, I would like to ask any group, was there a story you initially thought was a solution story but changed your mind after looking at, looking at it from the 4 pillars or through the 4 pillars? Those stories, if you look at them, you can easily say they are solution stories at the first glance.
Yes.
But when you when you put it through, or you look at them through the lenses of, or through the 4 pillars, what can you say?
For the story on the heat waves and the yams, I I may be wrong, but I did not see the issue of insight within the story. But the story is a solution story, because he identified the problem, identified the solution, there was evidence, but the issue of insight, I don't didn't seem to see it in the story. And then the limitations were those few, they were not very in depth. I think the reporter should have talked further to the scientists the reporter was quoting, or the person who gave a scientific view. I think they quoted a certain Philip, would have talked further about the limitations of the approach the community is using, and how that approach can be improved.
Okay. Thank you, Temba. Now, what was the most difficult pillar to identify in those stories? If you can hear me, please let me. Okay.
To me, I think it was the issue of insight. The pillar, the insight, because evidence was very clear that, and the response was there. The evidence was the fact that they tried the approach and they were seeing results.
Okay.
But the insight, it was difficult to identify.
Okay, so for you, it's the insights. Is it the same concern with other members of your group?
Yes, ma'am. I think the insight is the most difficult thing to identify the, the story, because at the last 3 to 4 paragraph only give an insight how an early warning prediction of to the agency, one of the Nigerian agency, deny met the. I think that's an insight, but it's not from an expert view. It's from like a warning regarding some tradition of rainfall, heat wave during the 9 month predictions. So it's not for an expert, like it's from an agency, like a warning. There should be an expert voice or an expert guide that can elaborate more on how we can preserve, or how we can actually live without necessary the heat wave or any conflict like that in the environment.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks. So I have a question for the farmer's story. Temba, you mentioned that did you say evidence? Okay, you said insights. Are you saying that the knowledge cannot be adapted? There's nothing to learn from the community. I mean, from those farmers from those, it was an individual who came up with the solution, who came up with a response to the heat wave. So are you saying from the story, there's no insight, there's nothing to be learned from that response? It can't be replicated or adapted.
I think another community can learn from that, and also try it out and practice it, and see if it can be helpful for the community. I think another community can learn from that.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So now we've learned how to dissect or identify solution story, and I'm sure with time you will be able to go through. I mean, when you look at a story online, when you look at a story from your newsroom, you will be able to say that this is a solution story, or it is not complete. It can't be a solution story, at least With all of this pillar, after this training, you go through. We're going to share this material, including the PowerPoint. So you go through them over and over again and get used to it. It's not going to be a one-off thing. Yeah. So the important thing is that now you understand that there are pillars that guide solutions journalism. Without those pillars, your whatever story you think is a solution story is not a solution story, whether a program, a radio program, or a TV program, or a print publication or article has to have those four pillars to some extent. Now, one mistake that we make as journalists is assuming that solutions only come from government or solutions only come from big institutions or organizations. Let's continue from where we stopped. Can you see my screen right now? Can you see?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so let's move real fast. So finding solution stories, where do you see solution stories? You can find them in communities, just like we saw those farmers on the field, researchers, private sector, NGO, the government, the communities, individuals. Sometimes the most interesting response is happening quietly inside a community developed by an individual. So we look beyond big institutions, we look beyond big names. An organization can easily invite you to come and write a story about the solution or the response that they've provided for a particular problem. Now, it's the ability for you to, whatever it is you're writing, whatever it is you're doing on that project, to ensure that it passes through the four pillars of solutions to confirm that it's a solution story is what makes you a solutions journalist. You're not going to write a solution story like every other story. So I want us to be clear on something. Solution story or solutions journalism doesn't mean that we stop asking what is wrong. Of course, you have to know what is wrong to be able to ask the next question, which is the response. You need to understand the problem before you can understand a response to it. Who is responding to a problem? That is still a very legitimate journalistic question. And then who is trying something different? But now we're adding another question to our reporting. What are they doing about it? Why? How? What evidence exists? What doesn't work? What can we learn from it? So you don't throw away the 5 W's and H. You're just adding another layer to the 5 W's and H. That is what solutions journalism is talking about. We're just adding another layer to what we already know. Now, this time we're going to walk from the other direction. Instead of giving you a story to dissect, I'm going to ask you to find a response. You choose a problem, you identify a response, you identify possible limitations, and then you give me the three major people that you will interview in that solutions story, and then tell us what evidence you will seek, what evidence you're looking for. So don't give me a perfect solution. What you're giving is something that is actually being tried in communities or in that particular community. So choose a problem, identify the response, identify possible limitations, identify the major people you will interview. That's 3 persons. And then tell us what evidence you will seek in that story. It does not have to be perfect. We're going to do this within 5 minutes and then come back again to the call. Just 5 minutes. Did we get that?
Yes.
Are there any questions? Do we have any questions?
Yeah, sorry, I don't get what you said we should look out for.
Okay. Choose a problem, right? Just come up with a problem and then identify a response to the problem, the possible limitations, identify 2 or 3 persons you will interview, and then what evidence you're looking for, the kind of evidence the evidence you're looking for in that story. Just 3 things: the problem, the response, limitations, and then 3 persons you will interview, and the solution, the limitations or the evidence you're seeking for in that story. Hello?
Would there be a link? Would there be a link to that story? Will you be sending a link to that story?
Yes, I'll be sending the link right away. Can you see the link? It's in the comments in the chat box. Can we all see the link?
Yes, we can.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Are we all here?
Yes, we are here, ma'am.
Okay, so let's begin with group 1. Can we, what problem did you choose? Let's know the problem and the response. Group 1?
Okay, for group 1, we didn't do that much. I think one of the social problems we identified was associated with flooding was destruction of life and properties. And yeah, even deaths. Yes, so we're citing an example of this Mokwa incident that happened last year, May, where people were actually displaced. There were a huge number of recorded deaths. And yeah, so that is where we stopped before our time.
Sorry for the interruption. The speaker, I think you're in group 2. We are in the same group.
Yes.
You are in group 2.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Yes,
group 2.
we are in the same group.
I thought that is group 1. Sorry.
Thank you for representing us.
Thank you, ma.
Yes, yeah, just go ahead. Just go ahead. That's group 2.
I think that is was all we said in our
Okay,
group.
so
Thank
you
you.
couldn't, okay, all right. All right, so group 1 or group 3?
The time was actually short. By the time we even started discussing, time was already out.
It's not a problem. You have all the time to do solutions journalism. At least you have an idea of what you're looking for. That's what matters. Can we have group 1 or group 3?
Group 1.
Okay.
For what is a social problem? Just trying to tie, because I think majority of group 1 members were actually Kenyans. Would identify it to be the drainage system. It is, so it would be our social problem, the poor drainage system, and in responding to this problem, we put government and then community at the top, because government, both the national government as well as Kenya would say county government. I don't know in Nigeria if it would be state government to be responding to this problem. And why you think this response is worth reporting is because even after the flooding, it will continue being a perennial problem throughout, and it will cause more havoc. It is something that in Kenya we have witnessed, where poor drainage system would affect and will actually lead to loss of lives. So, a number of people being submerged in water. So, why do you think this response is worth reporting? It is a health crisis, it is an emergency crisis. What evidence will we need to, before calling it a solutions journalism story? Now, for it to actually be a solutions journalism story, we would now need to, dig deeper into research and getting from the community what would actually work for them to help clear the drainage systems, their innovative solutions. So we'd also talk to independent experts as well as community feedback to get the sense of the innovative solutions as well as data that can actually help even the government to actually track different drainage systems. Are they about to be full? And there's a very quick response to that. But so for number 5, what limitations would we investigate? The access to these innovations that the independent experts would be providing to us. Say for the technology, is it going to be deployed to this specific region, to the whole region? Would it be able to be accessible to everyone? How easy will it be to actually understand this data? Yes, so those are some of the limitations that we would see, as well as even from now, because we talk about Nigeria here, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, how efficient is the warning systems before flooding and before rainfall? Is it actually going to be, how efficient is it for people to actually know that rainfall is coming? So we need to continuously drain and ensure the drainage systems are clear. What would be your first 3 interview questions? I think now we didn't really get into this point, but then I think top of mind would be, and then I've raised them as we continued, for the Nigerian Meteorological Agency representative from there, just asking them how efficient is their data on rainfall, and now to actually make this the solution journalism, if you're talking to independent innovators, independent experts, the solution that they will be bringing, how sustainable is it, and can it be deployed to other states in Nigeria? And a question to the community members: are they willing to onboard this? Because this drainage system will be getting into their businesses, into their homestead. Are they willing to onboard this solution to near where they stay? Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stanley. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, and also identifying who is trying something different, who is doing something about the problem, who is responding to this problem. So can we have, what group is this? Can we have the last group?
Okay, thank you, everybody. Group 3, we were given flooding in Nigerian city. And the problem is the poor drainage system, the blockage waterways, and dumping of waste in the drainage. And we were able to get the response, which would be the government, because they are the one in charge, and also communities. And to me, I would say individually too, because we also have a way to this. We are also contributing to the blockage. So individuals too is also contributing to it. So we are supposed to be the response to this. And the evidence is, if we want to really work on this, we need the flood data, We need to get the record from the government. We need to do our research first, before and after, and also get some feedbacks from the communities that the drainage or the flood is affecting. We need to get the feedback from the communities also. And we were unable to get the limitations before the time runs out. But I would say the limitations from my own end will be the costing. Is it sustainable or is it affordable? Can it work in Nigeria or can it also work in other countries? So that's what I would say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So I'm sorry, there was not enough time. You identified the problems and some I think group 3 identified Stanley spoke top of his head about the people to interview. Now this one is the very easiest trap to fall into. You identify a very, very important problem, and then you think that you found a solutions story. It's a very delicate trap because there's a very thin line between solutions and advocacy. Now, you also have to be very careful as a solutions journalist not to frame your story around a hero. Someone's mic is on. Can we check, please, and mute? Whose mic is on? Okay, thank you. So it's a very delicate situation. I mean, you have to be very careful at this point not to frame your story around the person who provides or provided the solutions, the government, the institution, an individual. It's very, very easy to fall into that trap. It's a very, very easy trap where you start talking about the person who provided the solution or who provided the response to a particular problem. So now we're going to go into putting all of this together. We're going to bring everything together. I think it's going to be our last slide. Please let me know if you can see my slide. Can you see my slide now? Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can see your slide, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so let's look at imagine you're taking this idea into your newsroom tomorrow. What is the headline you'll be looking at? I mean, you'll be working at. What is the problem? What's the response? What is the evidence you will need? What are the insights you'll find from the story? What insights does the story provide? What are the limitations? Who will you interview? Why does this story matter at this point? Because sometimes a solution, I mean, a problem can be there for a long time, but nobody's talking about it. And then all of a sudden you decide to do it. So there has to be a reason you're taking up the story. Why does the story matter at this point? And that's a very important question you need to ask yourself. Am I investigating this response, or am I simply helping somebody to promote it? Am I helping an organization to promote the story? Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. So this is going to be our last breakout session. You pitch a story in your groups. You tell us the problem, the response. That's going to be for 10 minutes. Evidence and insights. When we return, you have 2 minutes to pitch your story. So imagine you're doing a solution story in your newsroom. You can continue from the story you were doing before the last breakout session. You can continue from there. Check, identify the problem the response to the problem, the evidence, the insights, and the limitation. And this time around, you have a working headline. You're going to have a headline, and then why the story now? Why is it important to tell the story now? So that's what we're working on for 10 minutes. So you can continue from the story you developed. I mean, the problem you identified. You don't have to have evidence ready now. Just tell us what evidence you would seek in your story, and make sure your pitch doesn't sound like an organization's success story or PR or advocacy. Think like a journalist who is investigating a response, who identified the problem and is investigating it. So this time around, you get a working headline, and then the problem that you started with, you identified the response, insights, evidence, limitations, and then, of course, your source. Why the story now? Why is this important right now at this point? Do we have any questions? So this is the link. There's a link in the chat box. We'll do this. We'll come back in 10 minutes. Okay, welcome back. All right, so let's start with group one. Let's hear your pitch. Group one, your pitch, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Just to put it out there, a good number of Group 1 representatives were not able to speak, so Enos and I were flying this. But nonetheless, our working headline would be Tech in Health, how a local community in Mathare, that is in Kenya, is transforming the healthcare system, which is the Social Health Authority. For context, Social Health Authority is a government framework to ensure that people access healthcare in whichever part of the country that you're in. For another context, the problem here, first of all, is that access to the Social Health Authority has been marred by controversy, where we have seen leaders, some leaders say that it is not working, and this is the reason. Hospitals, some hospitals for that matter, when you visit them, they will tell you that the government has not paid them the money required for the Social Health Authority. So that means that they cannot tend to you. And this happens in different parts of the country. So for the response to this story focuses on a local community in the capital city of Nairobi called Mathare, where young innovators have been able to approach a local hospital, and so now this is the stem of the story where these young innovators are able to it's a technology that when you visit the hospital, your records are able to be seen, and the amount of the amount that you're paying is also visible, and the payment system is also very efficient. Also, your family records are the hospital can also access your family records, in the sense that if I go from hospital A in Nairobi today and I am transferred to another hospital, could be private or public hospital in another area in the country, you can also access your family records through this technology innovation, and this now makes the payment of the Social Health Authority better. So that was now for the response to this particular problem. Why this story matters is even through data, a number of Kenyans have been complaining about the payment of as they access the hospital, they really struggle to ensure that they can actually get that payment system very efficiently. In the past, when this system was being rolled out, you would spend about like an hour in the hospital just making sure that you that the hospital has actually been paid by the government and you can actually see the doctor. But now with this innovation, you spend less than 2 minutes and you can actually see the doctor. Also, the president of the country has been loud about how this particular system works. So the story just looks at, is it actually true? So the story also visits a number of local hospitals and talks to, now this goes to the sources that we would speak to, the local communities, the different people who have tried to receive the different services on the same. So that would be the sources, the local communities, the patients, as well as the family members of the patients, and the doctors, also the Ministry of Health, and also speaking to the community health promoters who go door to door to access and then just ensure that people access the healthcare system. Some of the limitations now for this system would be, again, for technology advancements, you need to ensure that that hospital has the enough internet connectivity as well as the data privacy. The Kenyan laws are there are new laws, but then the implementation of this laws to ensure that one's data privacy on health is safe, that would be a limitation for the same. Some of the, I'll finish off with the insights. Now for the visuals, we'll be seeing drone shots of these local communities. We'd definitely be seeing these patients who we would be starting the story with. We would see these patients walking in to this local hospital based in Mathare, Nairobi city. As they walk in, as they get to see this hospital, and then now other visuals how this technology would actually work, as well as even the sound bites and different B-rolls as we interview the different ministries, the different government officials from the Ministry of Health. Now for the insights, talking to the experts from the health sector, just saying how sustainable this is going to be. I think now that is where we were trying to wrap up on the kind of insights on this story and how it would help. But then top of mind, what we were wrapping up before the time elapsed was the bridge between what a community knows, what it has experienced, as well as what would really need to be done. That collaboration, yes, that would be our insights on that story. I think we have touched on that. That is group one. Our story is titled Tech in Health. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, group one. All right, so group two. So Stanley, it sounds like you have a story already. Like is it a story you have on ground already and you're trying to repurpose it for solution story, or is just a story you came up with within this breakout session? Because it sounds like you already have a story, but you're trying to turn it into a solution story. Hello, Stanley.
Sorry, I cannot get that. Tell.
Okay, no, I'm just asking. I said, I'm asking if it's a story you have done already and you're trying to repurpose it for as a solution story, because it sounds like you already have that story, or it's something you came up with now during the breakout session. Okay, I think your network is bad. All right, let's have group 2. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, group 1. Group 2, group 3.
Yeah, so thank you, ma. Group 3 is ready.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll like to pitch in few seconds. Sorry, in few seconds, yes. We are talking about flooding in Nigeria city, how it has been reported through image of dangerous homes, flood records, and display of families over the years. But instead of asking only that, we are going to say how bad is the flooding, and we would like to ask that what is actually working to reduce it. So our story will investigate a community lead approach to flood prevention, focusing on drainage, maintenance, waste management, and early warning measures. So we would use data, community experience, and independent experts to find whether the interventions are actually something that will reduce the impact of flooding, or whether the limitations are what other Nigerian countries would adapt to. So that is our little pitch in few seconds. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Other states in Nigeria. All right. Let's have the last group. Group, hello?
I mean other Nigerian communities. That's what I meant.
Okay. Let's have the last group, please. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So the last group, your presentation. All right, so let's move on. Let me share my slides down. So can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
All right, so we've all pitched our stories. Of course, we would need a little bit of refining. I mean, like I said, it's not no solution story is actually a perfect story. It doesn't have to be very perfect. Of course, there are going to be limitations, and reporting that limitation is what makes your story credible. You can't say everything was good. That's PR. That's, of course, impacts claim by organizations or individuals or companies. Your ability as a solutions journalist to expose or report limitations in that story is what makes the story complete. All right. So the stories that the two groups have pitched, if you go through those stories, I want you to ask yourself what you will need to verify before publishing the story. Go through the 4 pillars and find out what is missing, what could be missing from your story, what could make the story sound better, and then ensure that you refine your story through the framework. the solutions journalism framework. You don't ask too many questions because you need to protect. You don't ask little questions because you need to protect some people or you need to protect a particular information. You ask all the questions necessary. You ask anyone that needs to be asked. Find out, do your research, go beyond the veil to find out what is happening. You identify the problem, find out who is responding to the problem, and then ensure that you don't make a hero out of anyone. You don't center your reports on a particular person who is responding to a problem. While doing your solution story, sometimes it could be an individual who came up with the response or who came up with the solutions. You also have to craft your story in a way that you're not focusing on that individual. You're focusing on the solution. You ask how many persons have used this solution? How many persons have used this technology? Is it working for them? I remember I did a story. I did a story about a community, 3 communities in the state where I am right now, and there's this technology that was introduced in a particular community to help them get weather information, accurate, timely weather information. Now, that is for a non-solutions journalist. You think you can term that as a solutions story. But the question is, how long has the solution been there? How long has that response been? How many persons have used the information from that technology? Did it work for them? Are there limitations? So it's very, I know after this training, after this workshop today, a lot of us are going to go back to some of the stories we thought were solutions stories and go, look at them through the lens, through the 4 pillars that we've identified today. You'll find out that they are not solution stories. They're not actually solution story. They're probably a feel-good story. They're probably good news. I mean, a community coming up with a solution for their for weather forecast is a good story. I mean, it's good news, but it's not a solution story because how long has that solution been there? How many persons have used that solution? Who has benefited? Who did not benefit, and why? So these are the things that that make up your solutions story. So an editor's question will be, what problem in your bits could become a solution story? If you have people who are covering different bits in your newsroom, what are the problems that they have identified that could easily become a solution story? And then you refine it through the lens of solutions journalism. So let's take a look at the 4 pillars again. Remember the response, which is what is being done about a problem. Of course, there's a problem that has been identified. And then the evidence, does it work? If there's if there's a solution, if there's a response to a problem, does this solution work? And then what is the evidence that it actually works? What can people learn from it? Where can it work? Which community? And then why can't it work in this community? How can this community make this response work? And then the limitation, where does it fall short? You don't just ask what is wrong. We started with the 5 W's and H. We started with understanding what happened, who was responsible, what went wrong, and why. Then solutions journalism doesn't throw all of that away. Like I said earlier, it's just another layer. It's not just about the problem. It's not about asking what is wrong. It's also asking what is being done about what is wrong. Who is benefiting from it? Why didn't this work in another community? So when you look at stories, when you go online, when you look at some of the stories you've done, thinking they are solution stories, look again and see what is missing in that report. That's just all I would like you to do after this call. Look back to some of the stories you have done, whether they are online, whether they are on radio or television, and listen to them again, watch them again, and see some of the mistakes. And if you become a solution journalist, it doesn't mean you can't do other stories, right? It doesn't mean you can't do stories that talk about the problem, all right? But for a story, for a project to be termed a solution story, it has to have these 4 pillars to some extent. That is just what this workshop is all about. So before we close, I want you to think about what story you could approach differently after today. Maybe it's a climate story, maybe it's an education story, maybe it's agriculture, health, corruption. You don't have to stop reporting the problem. But perhaps the next time you encounter any problem, you look beyond the problem, you look for the response. And that's the shift that we're talking about today. So before we officially close this call, I want to give you an opportunity to ask any final questions or share anything that may still be unclear from today's session. So, and while we're doing that, while we're doing that, I would like you to take a look at this. Take a look at the chat box and just respond to some of the other questions, the feedback. Give us your feedback while we receive questions or contributions or something, whatever it is you want to share. Maybe a story you've done and you want to understand whether it could be a solution story or not. Questions, observation, anything unclear from today's workshop. So while we're doing that, please, there's a link in the chat box. Let's have your feedback. It's just going to take 45 seconds to fill the questionnaire. Just complete it, please. Take a moment to do that. Your feedback will help us improve on our future trainings. Are we still there?
Yes, we are here.
Yeah. So do we have questions? So for everyone who participated today fully in the training, you took part in the breakout sessions, you receive a certificate after this training. The certificate will be emailed to all the participants of today's TouchScience Africa Media Academy Solutions Journalism Cohort 26. Yeah, so keep an eye on your email. And also we're going to have a selfie. We'll have a selfie for this cohort. So I'd like you to turn on your camera. You can turn on your camera now before we go. So the survey, the questionnaire is just 40 seconds, 40 to 45 seconds. Just respond to them while we prepare to take a selfie. So we officially announced this cohort, the Solutions Journalism training cohort across our platform, TouchScience Africa platform. We also shared on social media, shared the selfie there. So feel free to tag us. We'll follow up with you after the training and provide mentorship and continued engagement as you begin to apply this knowledge. So we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to read your stories. We'd love to know what you're working on and how you're applying the knowledge you've got today. Yeah. So can we please turn on our cameras? Yeah. Okay. Can we say cheese? Okay, I'll take it again. I'll take it again, just in case. Is anyone whose camera is not on? Okay, all right.
Please hold on.
Okay. Okay, are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we do this? Hello. Intro. Okay, 1, 2, go. All right. I think that is it. Let me check if we got it. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much again. Let me just enter. Yes.
Hello, Ma.
Yeah.
Okay, please, Ma, I don't know if we can also reach out to you. We can also reach out to you, especially when it comes to, yes, maybe after drafting our stories or asking questions in regards to SoJo reporting, and so that you can also give a guide to us when we are putting our story together. I don't know which of the platform we can easily get across to you.
Yeah, you can reach me by my email. You have my email.
Oh,
yes, I'm
yes,
available.
sure.
Yeah, I'm available on that email. So you can always reach me on my email. And then if you're on LinkedIn, we are also on LinkedIn, TouchScience Africa. We are on LinkedIn, so you can reach me on those platforms.
All right, that's fine. Thank
Yes,
you
it will be good to hear from you. So thank you very much for giving me your time, and more importantly, for participating actively on this workshop. I hope you leave here not simply knowing, not just knowing what solutions journalism is, but also seeing stories differently, especially when you're doing solutions, stories from a solutions angle. So the next time you encounter a problem, I hope you don't just stop asking what is wrong. I hope you also ask what is being tried, who has learned from it, and then also reporting the limitations credibly. And like I said, always remember that no solutions story is perfect. No solutions is perfect. Yeah. So no solutions is perfect. So thank you very much again for being part of this call. And we hope to stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay, bye everyone. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Will you be sending the selfies on email?
Yes, I'll send the materials. I'll send everything, the training materials. I'll send the photo we just took right now, and then every other information by email. Yes, I will. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.